Welcome back to my show where I try to tell you why I loved something without giving away the good goods, which works out for me because I'm going to try and compress 7 seasons of this scrappy little vampire show from a mid-tier TV network and somehow contextualize it enough that you want to watch it. I was 15 once, alas, when Buffy came on the air. Come with me on a journey to the forgotten lands of 1997. In March of 1997, a small TV show about fast-talking high school demon slayers called Buffy the Vampire Slayer showed up on the WB.
Stay tuned for scenes from the next all-new episode of Buffy.
For as long as there have been vampires, there's been the Slayer. One girl in all the world, a chosen one.
He loves doing this part.
It changed my life.
All right.
So I want to take you on a trip back to the past with 15-year-old Michael. The year Friends was hitting its stride. The year X-Files was as well. Home Improvement was a real thing that existed, and Seinfeld was winding down. The Simpsons was entering its 8th year on the air. 1997, the year that gave us Bowls. Also the endlessly divine Surge. Here's a really weird way to look at it. 3 times the people were still watching The Cosby Show in 97 than this little show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A show created by John Swab and loosely tied to the movie he also wrote. A show that ranked 142nd in ratings for the year it debuted. It was underground. It was cool in every sense of the word. It maintained a passionate, though small audience, yet parents' councils endlessly freaked out about all the demons and the sexual promiscuity and the witches and my word, the lesbians. And I'm not saying it wasn't problematic in 90s ways, but it's a show about empowering yourself above the systems that try to endlessly control us and doing the right thing, even when the right thing is hard. It was counterculture, and some of it definitely doesn't hold up so hot like Xander's whole everything for the first 3 years of the show. Xander Harris, female body policer, Tuesdays on the WB until it moves to UPN. But here's the true. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a mid-season replacement for Savannah. Pour one out for Savannah Sundays, am I right? Buffy was a show that grew up with the viewer. It was all high school drama until it wasn't. It was just really easy for me to fall in love with as a teenager. It grew up with me. We were in high school at the same time, we went to prom at the same time, and we went off to college in the working world at the same time. I in no way can deny the fact that I was pretty much the perfect audience for this show. This $4 show that was shot in an actual high school and a warehouse where they built the most endearingly cheap sets. They had stunts, they had special effects, and they had a smaller budget than Seventh Heaven. There has been a joke circulating about this since the show came on the air, that vampires in the early seasons are killed off screen more than on because the special effect for the vampires dusting cost enough that they couldn't do it every time. This show should have never been on the air. The writers were the heroes on this show. I know Joss casts a long Avengers-shaped shadow at this point, but it's important to remember how stacked the writers' room for this show actually was. I still follow every show or movie these names are attached to. Drew Goddard got his start on Buffy. It's the way the writing layers over time that captured me 22 years, oh God, ago. Breathe into the back. Breathe into the back. Breathe in. You see, on the surface, it's a goofy show about killing all the evil demons that love to hang around this thing called the Hellmouth that happens to be under the high school, but beneath that, you can explore what being a teenager in the 90s was actually like. Yup, actually that's pretty accurate. The boyfriend who turned out to be evil right when you thought you trusted him, the crusty expectations of a massive group of old men who think they can police your everything, Seth Green as a werewolf, you know, just typical 90s gender dynamics. The show is practically designed to be underestimated, ridiculed, and spat upon by the media as if it wasn't real, dignified television because it starred a teenage girl that slayed vampires on the WB. And this amazing team of actors, writers, producers, and everyone in between made made something much more meaningful and bigger than the sum of its parts. Seemingly incidental side characters and even alternate dimension versions of said characters were reincorporated and grown in surprising ways as the show went on. It's self-referential, but it's also world-building this massive tapestry to pull from in surprising and clever ways. And a sincere thank you to these writers. You helped mold this person. It's a shockingly apt metaphor for being a teenager. For Buffy and the Scoobs, everything literally is life and death. Oh, I get it. It was Monster of the Week, low-budget television that was also about something greater. Life. You should see it because the hardest thing in the world is to live in it.